I'm now going to show you some ambiguous tuple situations. This is when using the parentheses is necessary whenever you create the tuple. Okay, so our first example is going to be creating a list of tuples. So first, I'm just going to create 3 tuples like this, assign them to 3 different variables. So there'll be 2-item tuples of integers. So the first tuple will just be 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and then 5, 6, like this. So just to show you, A is just 1, 2, like that. And now I'm going to create a list of these 3-item tuples. I'm going to say A, B, C. So this is a list of tuples. This list will have 3 items in it. It's kind of hard to see them. Here's the first item. The first item is a tuple. The second item is a tuple. And then the third item is a tuple. I want to verify that a list, the length is in fact 3. So just so that it's not 6, it is 3. It's just that each of these ones has 2 items. All right, let's try to attempt to create this in one line using without parentheses. So let's do this again. And what if we try to say, all right, this is one tuple, right? This is the next one, and this is the third one. So maybe I can say a list 2 like this and print it out. And as you can see, it looks different. We don't have those parentheses in there. So what's happened is Python doesn't know that we want this as its own tuple just because it's commas in here. This is the syntax to create a list of 6 items. So we can verify this like this. Okay. So the length of a list 2 is 6. So there's 6 integers in here. There's no tuples inside of here. So you do need parentheses. This is where parentheses are necessary. So let's say we are wanting to recreate this, but on one line of code. So we can do this, but we need parentheses around where we want our tuple. So now the parentheses are saying, hey, Python, this is actually a tuple. They're not separate items in the list. This is another tuple, and this is the last tuple. So now when I look at this, a list 2 is a list of 3-item tuples. It's the same as we created above. And then now when we check the length again, it is 3. Okay, so that's one situation where the parentheses are necessary. You can't get away without using them, like that. All right, moving on. Here's another situation I've actually already entered in the code. So I've created 2 tuples, A and B. They have the exact same values, 1, 2. So when we test equality, does A equal B? Well, that certainly should be true. They look exactly the same. Now, can we write it like this? 1, 2 equals 1, 2. So as you can see here, A is 1, 2. B is also 1, 2, the tuple, right? A and B are tuples. So you might think, well, this should evaluate as true, but you're thinking, what has just happened here? Well, what has happened is that Python has treated this as a 3-item tuple. So it's very tricky. So what happens is Python sees these commas. It's like, all right, this person is creating a tuple. The first item is 1. That's what you see down here in the result. The second item is the result of 2 equal to 1. That is false. So it does this. The operator precedence says, hey, we're going to do this 2 equal to 1. That is false. And then the last item is 2. So 1, false, 2. So it doesn't say, does this tuple equal this tuple? No, it doesn't. It makes an entire tuple of 3 items. The middle item is just 2 equal to 1, which is false. So this one is very tricky, I think. Now, so you do need, if you want to compare it just like we did up here, you do need parentheses. So you need to say, all right, Python, this is a tuple. Parentheses forces Python to treat this as a tuple and also the same one on the right side as a tuple. So remember, parentheses kind of focus Python, changes the operator precedence, and says, hey, let's do this first. So that means create a tuple over here, create a tuple over here, and then check the equality. Up here, there's no parentheses. Python just sees commas, so it assumes that there's a tuple. There is an operator over here, so this is the first thing that it does. It says, is 2 equal to 1? We'll know that is false. That is just the middle value of this 3-item tuple. So parentheses are necessary here again. So those are just a couple of examples where parentheses are necessary whenever you are creating tuples. So you may have to use them. For other cases that are simple, you will not.